Hi, everyone. I'm Mykie Stiller, the Chief Operating Officer for the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and I'm so excited to be here with you today with Arash Vossoughi, our top coach here at PGI. Arash, how are you?
I'm great, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great. So today I thought we could give everyone some value, some things that they can implement into their lives right away. And then, of course, we have a special announcement for this webinar. Are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right. So I've known you for over 10 years now, and you have such an incredible story, one that so many people can relate to. So I thought we could start by you sharing your story.
Sure. So about 11 years ago, I was literally starting over. I was 150,000 in debt. I came home, just got laid off from my job in the corporate world, and I had a foreclosure sticker on my garage, which was quite embarrassing at the time because everyone else could see it. You know, I got connected to Bob, and I had been studying Bob's material and other people's material. I remember in a 3-year period before I met Bob, I had invested $32,000 in different types of coaching programs, but nothing had changed. Anyhow, Bob and I had a mutual acquaintance, and he connected me to Bob, and Bob said to me, well, what is it that you really want? And I said, I want to create a life of freedom doing what I love. He says, well, what do you love? I said, I'm not really sure. I said, I know I want to do something helping people, but I don't know in what way. And then Bob said, how serious are you to make the change? And I said, I'm very serious. I said, because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I said, I've spent all this money on coaching and nothing has changed. And I'll never forget it. Bob said, well, you've never worked with me. And I said, no. And I didn't even know at the time Bob did coaching. You know, I was studying a lot of self-study programs with him. Anyhow, he said, will you do what I tell you to do? And I said, yes. And he said, you've got to do exactly what I tell you to do. He said, most people won't, but if you do exactly what I tell you to do, everything will change. And I said to him, well, what do you recommend? And he said, I want you to allow me to mentor you and go get in my mentorship program, but you got to do your part. And from that moment on, for the first time in my life, I said, I'm just going to do what he tells me. And, you know, I would always start, stop. I would be coachable when it was convenient for me, you know. Anyhow, I did exactly what he told me, and that's when everything changed. You know, during the first year of being mentored by him, I say first year because the mentorship has never stopped, you know, and I removed the debt out of my life. I earned a positive 282,000, and during that first year, I lost 42 pounds of weight. You know, my whole world changed. And in that time, I was like, oh my God, I just want to do this. I want to help other people do this. And, you know, my life has taken off since then. You know, now Bob and I, and of course you, Sandy, and our team have been working together with PGI for 10 years. And I've looked back at my records. I've coached over 15,000 people in that 10-year period. And, you know, my life has changed so much. You know, my health has changed. Obviously, my finances have changed, and what I'm allowed to do for my family has been just beyond my wildest dreams in such a short period. And I always go back to that one conversation. You have this one moment, even though my results didn't change that day, everything changed that day because I had such belief in his belief. And obviously I had to follow up and do the work, but that's really where I've come from.
I love that. You know, a piece of your story that I think is important that you didn't share is whenever you got laid off, you were what, a month, 2 months away from getting married too?
Yeah. I was a few weeks. I was 3 weeks away from getting married.
Which is some added pressure going into a marriage and a life with someone and then losing your job.
Yeah, you know, the point, I had such a great attitude though when I got laid off. You know, like, I think that's what saved me because, you know, the funny thing is, even though I didn't have much to my name at that time, I felt like an anchor was off my back because I had been studying this material, and I said to myself, I just got to now's my time to implement it. You know, my company got sold. The new company actually wanted to keep me, and I told them no, you know. And you know, Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich about you have to burn your bridges. Like, I burned my bridges, you know, And I was fortunate because I also had my fiance, my wife now, who is extremely supportive. You know, I have a very supportive family that helped me with the support of not killing my dreams of what I wanted to do.
I love that. All right, fast forward today, your life looks vastly different than it did back then. What is a handful of the biggest lessons that Bob's taught you or that you've learned from different books and things over the past 10 years?
Okay, so I've been talking about this recently. I think the best lesson I've ever learned from Bob is the importance of attitude. You know, I always thought that I had a good attitude. I was upbeat, I was optimistic, but I didn't understand attitude until Bob taught it to me. And Bob told me one day I was stuck, and I called him and I told him I was stuck. And he said, "Well, you're letting the present results control you." And I said, "Yeah, I know, but how do I not do that?" And he said, "I'm going to share something with you that one of my mentors taught me." He said, "Anyone can have a great attitude when things are going well." He said, "A true professional has an even better attitude when they're up against it." And I never forgot that. In that moment, it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. But I didn't just stop there. He made an imprint in me. You know how we talk about a paradigm being changed either through spaced repetition and elite level coaching or an emotional impact? Well, this was an emotional impact for me. So I went in a deep dive with attitude. I started studying a book called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude with Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. I started observing my attitude. Then I started understanding you have an attitude towards everything. Like we have an attitude towards what we're doing right now. I had an attitude towards how I woke up. We have an attitude towards money. We have an attitude towards our family. We have an attitude towards what our confidence is and what we believe. So as you could see, I took a huge deep dive, and I would study the magic word from Earl Nightingale. It's a 13-minute recording, and I study it still every year. I never stop focusing on my attitude because I know if my attitude is right, everything will follow. And what I want to share with you, everyone listening to this, is attitude isn't just, okay, I'm optimistic. If I'm coming from lack and limitation, I'm operating from a negative mental attitude. So we want to really look at attitudes, and Bob got me to do this, and I feel like I've taken it to this next level for myself with attitude. So that is one right there.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because I do feel like there's this misconception, and you just nailed it on the head, that a good attitude means that you're happy, means that you are optimistic. And I think that there's this surface level understanding of a lot of the different like tools and mindset, decision, all the different subjects that Bob touches on. But really what Bob does so well, and what I've learned so much from him, is that you can peel the onion on every single one of these and really take a deep dive like you have. And that's when you start seeing the results that really make an impact on your life. So do you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, I mean, everything, once you really start observing your behaviors, you're going to win. You know, I always talk about when I'm coaching my clients or my team, you've got to create your own winning formula. It doesn't have to be my formula. My formula works and I've duplicated it, you know, but you have to find your winning formula, but you got to go deeper. You know, I want to burn this for everyone in your mind. You know, no idea works unless you work the ideas. Okay. Like when I was telling you I got mentored for a 3-year period, I don't know if it was good mentorship or not, but I put the onus on myself. Okay. I didn't follow through. What I didn't do was I didn't work the ideas, but I think it was because I wasn't ready. Then I found Bob, who really simplified everything for me and showed me exactly what to do and how to do it. And I'll never forget, and I'm sharing this for a purpose, that the only thing people are missing is the right direction. And Bob told me that. Those aren't my words. He said, "You're not any smarter now 10 years ago than you were back then." He said, "You're just more aware and you're extremely coachable." Like one of the things I've been telling my clients this week is you've got to surrender to the process. You've got to surrender to the process of the mentee. Okay. I'm sorry, the mentor, you know, and when you surrender to the process, then you're learning from somebody who's already done it. You know, you guys have probably always heard this, where the universe leaves clues. Well, the clues are through your mentors. In mentorship, if you study the most successful people in the world, there's a lot of common denominators, but one of the key ones is they have a mentor, but it's not just having a mentor, it's doing what the mentor tells you, okay? I did the same thing with attitude as I did with discipline. Bob kept hammering me, discipline is the key to freedom. I wanted to create freedom. So, and he'd tell me discipline is giving yourself a command and following it. I said, okay, well, I want to go deeper with this, so I went deeper. So I said, I have got to start thinking only based on what I want, because when you get mentored by Bob, he tells you, I just want to know what you really want. Don't tell me what's going on right now. Tell me what you really want. So then I started learning, as I was dissecting discipline, I had to discipline my thinking. As I started disciplining my thinking, guess what? I started creating a better attitude. We just talked about attitude. As I started disciplining every area of my life, then all of a sudden my action steps got disciplined. Everything, they all correlate so much, so.
This is so good. What are some of the daily rituals that you've implemented into your life that have really helped you?
Okay. I have a lot of daily rituals, and they're very simple. Everything, remember this, complexity is the enemy of success, okay? We want to simplify everything. First thing I do when I wake up is I exercise, okay? And I change my rituals all the time because I think our daily rituals create mastery, okay? But I wake up at 5 a.m., and what I do first thing is I exercise for 30 minutes. I want to get an exercise in because it gets my energy level so high. As soon as I'm done exercising, I transition for a few minutes, and then I do a meditation. I'll do, whether it's a guided meditation, any type of meditation I do, and I'll do it for 15 to 20 minutes, okay? And then what I like to do is gratitude. But for me, I was really resistant for a long time with writing gratitude out because I felt like every time I wrote it out, it was more of an intellectual exercise, and I knew that doesn't really do much. So I need to get emotionally involved. So now I put music in that I like, and I'll do my 10 things that I'm grateful for. I usually do 5 things that have not happened and 5 things in the moment that just come to mind that I'm grateful for. And then I'll write out 20 I am statements, like I am prosperous, I am healthy, I am powerful, I am healthy. And then I do auto-suggestion. Now, auto-suggestion is like my baby. Like between scripting and auto-suggestion, those are the 2 things that I swear have really got me to where I'm going in terms of imprinting my mind with what I want with the new image. And auto-suggestion, for the people who've never heard this, it's a suggestion from yourself to yourself. So kind of like gratitude, I'll put a song on my phone, and I will just auto-suggest my goal for 5 minutes. As soon as 5 minutes comes, a buzzer goes off, and that's it. But I get really emotionally involved. And then once that's done, that's about 60 minutes, okay? And then I get into my day. And then I just really do, and I do a lot of sprints throughout the day. I like doing 30 to 90-minute sprints because, and what I mean by sprints is really being focused, turn everything off, whatever project I'm working on, I get locked in for 30 to 90 minutes. It could be 30, then I need a 10-minute break. I do sprints throughout the day because I found out I am so much more effective instead of just kind of being just sitting there standstill.
That's so good. You said at the beginning of the call that you've worked with over 15,000 clients. You come to all of our events, now virtual events even. You've been working closely with Bob for over 10 years now. And so you've gotten to work with a lot of people. And I would say that a lot of people, or the majority of people, have similar paradigms, have similar holdbacks, setbacks. We all do. We're all people. What are some of those paradigms, or what's holding a lot of people back?
I mean, for everybody, I know that's a big statement. It all starts with self-image. People are having a hard time because they're letting their present results control them. So it's affecting their self-esteem. A lot of people don't have a good understanding about money. We were never taught this. I was never taught it until I learned it from Bob. I just briefly touched on it, that money is an attitude. I talked about it earlier this week on another talk I was doing about MSIs, that multiple source of income is an attitude, and and really understanding what they want. If you ask 100 people what they want, 95 to 97 people won't know. They'll tell you what they don't want. And imagine if we shifted that, if we shifted it, it is amazing, because I'll ask a client, well, tell me your goals. What is it that you want? And they'll go into what they don't want a lot of the time. And I said, no, let's focus on what you want. But here's the thing. That's what they're doing in their daily life. You got to understand this, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. So it's not that we can't have what we want. It's that we've got to discipline our mind to think what we want. Everything comes with our thinking. And as we get emotionally involved in it, then you're going to see the fruits of your labor really flourish. I love In the Strangest Secret. I can understand it so much more now with where I am today. When Earl Nightingale was talking about your mind is like a garden. You're either, whatever seed you plant, you're going to get that back. Well, that's what we've got to do. We've got to plant whatever it is that I want. I've got to plant that in my garden. Okay. And I kind of look at the mind like a battlefield. Like throughout the day, all this stuff is coming at us. There's so much coming at us, especially since social media really took off, where if you are not really disciplined in your mind, it's very easy to get distracted.
I love that. I know, so this announcement that we have that we're going to do on today's call, I know it's something that you and I are both really excited about, but before we do that, I want to know, because both you and our lives have completely transformed with the help of Bob's mentoring. What is it that you think is the most valuable aspect of Bob's mentoring?
Well, Bob tells you, he gives you a blueprint and a game plan of what to do, and he simplifies everything. Most people just want to know what to do. And that's what I think for me. And Bob taught me how to think. Bob taught me how to accept ideas. Like, accepting ideas is one of the best lessons I've ever learned. It has changed my life. I've been talking so far on attitude and discipline. Accepting an idea is right there with those two. I was on a call one day with Bob, and he was congratulating me on something. And I said to him, I wish I could do this every day. And I've said this many times, you got to be very careful what you tell Bob, And he said, well, why don't you? And I said, well, I don't know. He said, you haven't accepted the idea. He said, this isn't rocket science, And I started thinking in that moment, that's all I have to do. So I'm just going to start accepting ideas. So anything I wanted, I just started accepting it. It's just going to happen, And I got emotionally involved with that moment, And so when Bob tells me something, I just did it. I didn't say, oh, I wonder, let me test it out. Let me think if he's telling me the truth. Because I always thought, why would he lie to me? There's no purpose in it, And, once I really surrendered to the process, like I was talking about earlier, I did it unconsciously 11 years ago. I didn't consciously be like, you know what? I'm going to surrender to the process. I just did what he told me. He said, he said, for you to win, you got to do exactly what I tell you to do. So when you get mentored, I can tell anybody with 100% certainty, if anybody will do what Bob tells them to do, what we tell them to do, like literally to a T, they're going to win. I know that for a fact, because I have thousands and thousands of people outside of me who are winning in such a big way.
That's so good. All right. So a few weeks ago, maybe it's been a month ago now, I think it was just a couple weeks ago, you, myself, and Bob were all on a call brainstorming like we generally do, brainstorming different ideas about how we could help our clients, what would be valuable to our clients. And we came up with a great idea. So we're going to do the first ever Bob Proctor Masterclass, which I am ecstatic about. And it's going to be 6 months spent with Bob on a weekly basis. Tell us about what the masterclass is going to be and why you're so excited about it.
I mean, I remember that call when we were brainstorming, first of all. I have been wanting, through everything that's been going on in the world, I wanted to give us to give more solutions, and all of us have been constantly, between me, you, Bob, Sandy, and obviously other people on our team, Anyway, the masterclass, when we were talking about it, we're like, Bob, why don't you deconstruct your process? And he started thinking about it, and, and he's like, I said, you've never completely done it. He's done it with the private clients and he's done it with us, but to really create a high-end mentorship program for anybody who really wants to win. And then Bob said, why don't we teach people how to turn their annual income into their monthly income? Right now, that would help a lot of people. So the masterclass, I'm so excited because for six months, you're going to be working with Bob, and he's going to deconstruct his process with you every single week. And you're going to be working very closely with him, myself, with you, Mykie, with our whole team. I know Sandy's going to be a part of it, I'm sure, where we're going to take a huge deep dive, and we're going to teach people, number one, how to create the mindset of really creating the life you want. Because remember, 95% of success is mindset, 5% is systems, okay? Then we're going to teach you how to get into action, because that's what I was telling Bob just yesterday. I said, people love studying, but they don't love doing. And I love the quote from Emerson. He says, do the thing will give you power. It's not just study the thing, this thing will give you power. So we're going to get you into action and give you specific action steps, tangible, that are going to take you from where you are to where you want to go. Then we're going to mastermind throughout with all the clients who are in the masterclass. Within, we're going to mastermind, because when you put two or more minds together, magic happens. And the whole purpose of this is really getting people to create massive results and really create the life they want. And you're going to have the accountability. Accountability is huge because it prevents people from drifting. So why I'm so excited from it is because I know where I was. I was at the lowest point in my life at that point. And I just followed what this man told me to do. And I didn't have the money, at the time, but I had the will and I had the desire. And I could tell anybody who's on this, if they will just commit a few hours a day in doing what he tells you to do, you're going to transform yourself over the next 6 months.
I could not agree more. And one of the things that I'm really excited about, and you touched on this so beautifully with the creating financial freedom, I know that through this 6 months with Bob, people are also going to create freedom from their circumstances. There's so many people, and I've been there, where you feel like a prisoner to your circumstances and what's going on around you and the situation that you find yourself in. And I know that through this program, everyone in this program is going to find freedom from their circumstances. Do you want to talk about that at all before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think it's a great point you make, because if we allow ourselves to focus on our circumstances, we're going to keep creating the same in the future, And what Bob is going to do is he's going to show you how to not allow your circumstances to control you, how to really discipline yourself to really create what you want. All of us want something. Some people may not admit it because they don't think they can do it. That's what I found is the reason you'll ask them what they want, Anyhow, you're going to be shown exactly what to do and how to do it, because your circumstances right now are a reflection of your past decisions, beliefs, and behaviors. Now imagine this. Imagine that you are being coached every week, and you just say, I'm going to surrender to the process and do what this man is going to teach you. He's been doing it for 56 years every single day. And in my opinion, he's the best teacher in the world on human potential and success. And you do exactly what he tells you to do. The question you guys got to ask yourself is, if I do this and do exactly what Bob tells me to do, and as I'm working really closely with him, what will that do for my life over the next 6 months? And I think you'll be able to really get a good answer for yourself.
I agree. One more thing that I want to touch on before we end is that while this program would be amazing for everyone, it's not for everyone. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody. I think anybody can do it if they really want to really create some massive shifts in their life. But it's for people who are very committed, people who are willing to get out of their comfort zone, because Bob will take you out of your comfort zone, because you can't stay in your same box that you're in right now to create something much further ahead, okay? So I tell people it's for people who really want to work closely with Bob, people who really want to create a massive quantum leap in their life, and people who are really committed and are willing to make committed decisions. Bob is going to get really into the importance of decisions, okay? Because decision making is going to change your life. I know I've become a proficient decision maker, which I wasn't at the time where I was 11 years ago. So you really want to be committed, be willing to make committed decisions, really want to get out of your comfort zone, and really want to work closely with Bob so we can really help you really create a massive shift in your life.
Thanks, Arash. Now we're going to put a link in the description or caption of this video so that you can go to a page. There's going to be a video from Bob explaining a little bit more about the masterclass, a page that you can read some more information. Fill out the form on that page if you are interested. Once you fill out that form, you're going to get a call from Arash or one of our other coaches here at the Proctor Gallagher Institute so that we can find out if this is the perfect fit for you and get you started. Arash, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today, and I hope that we'll see you all in the masterclass.
Thanks, Mike.
I hope you enjoyed this video. We put a lot of good information up here, and it causes everything in your life to get better. If you'd like us to notify you every time we put a new video up, hit subscribe and then turn on notifications. Check out all our videos, and we will notify you when we put a new one up.